Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and I'm super excited to be here for this week's Deep Astrology. This is a big week, and I know it sounds like it's been a big week every week, but it really has. When you talk about building layers on a cake or layers of energy on top of each other, there comes a point to where finally, where do we get to this point to where things kind of peak out? Definitely, this is that week. There is so much to talk about today. There is so much to go through. Of course, we'll be going through the charts. If you never watched this show, this is a weekly show that I do where I combine not only looking at the astrology, but I take it to a deeper level. We not only talk about it, but we go deep into the charts and we try and find a deeper conscious meaning behind all this energy and what we're going through in the universe today. Now, of course, this is the last of a set of 3 eclipses that we've had in this last month and a half. So this is rare, to have a solar, lunar, solar. This is not something that we've had since 2011, where we had solar, lunar, solar. Now, you can look back where we've had sets of eclipses of 3 in the last couple years, like that was a lunar, solar, lunar. But this one has been a solar, lunar, solar. And that's a big deal because solar eclipses are much more intense because they definitely are dealing with renewal. They're new moons. They're very powerful. And especially when it's in the sign of Leo, this last eclipse, which is the ruler of the sun itself. Now, to look at the buildup to this eclipse this week, we now have 6 planets retrograde. Uranus just went retrograde today here on Tuesday, August the, what is it today, the 7th or something like that? There's a lot that has just been going on with 6 planets retrograde. This is like extreme karmic energy coming at us. Because you got to remember, yes, the planets don't go backwards in reality as far as around the sun, but from Earth's point of view, we start passing planets in weird ways and they look like they're coming backwards and their energy starts coming towards us like the tide pulling out from sea. And there is a lot of karmic energy that is in respect to retrogrades, right? We are retro going backwards into energy. And when we bring energy in is how we receive karmic energy. Now, yes, it might feel like there's been a lot of craziness in the universe with all this Uranus energy shifting. Of course, Mars retrograde in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, on top of the South Node in Aquarius, which is Uranus ruled, that has been squaring that spot. So talk about a twister in spirituality in ourselves, yeah. And then you add Mercury retrograde, and usually just if you look at a Mercury and a Mars retrograde, and especially in opposite signs, oh my gosh, that's like really weird and odd and crazy. And then of course, Pluto's retrograde with Saturn retrograde in Capricorn, digging deep into the heels of our destiny and our purpose and, where we're going in life and what is the best for our reputation, what is the best just overall in our path. And then, you add to boot all this energy just overall when you think, am I ever going to find the light? Yes, definitely. This is a very big upgrade spiritually for all of us in our lives. And I know it can feel extreme, but isn't that what we all want? We all want to go to a higher level. We all want to reach higher in our life and have a happier life and have a life that's more fulfilling inside ourselves. And that's what this is about. And let's cover a lot of these main aspects that we're going to be going through for this week. Now, number 1, Uranus just went retrograde in Taurus. First time Uranus has retrograded Taurus since the 1930s. So unless you were born before the 30s or in the 30s and you were really awake and conscious of all this, a lot of people haven't felt this, a majority of us. And this is looking back at new ways for us to manifest in our life, money situations, self-worth, what's best for us in our life. And this is an interesting time for Uranus to come retrograde because it's right before a major solar eclipse in Leo about happiness. So this is definitely a very deep and radical inner look at what we feel we deserve in our life to be happy. This is a lot like a price checker at Target in our happiness, at everything. Is this worth it? Is this not? Can I afford this? Is this what I deserve? There's a lot of that stuff going on, but also rising to the level in which we have to step forward into our manifesting skills, because now that Uranus has retrograded, it is in now trine to Saturn, which is retrograding in Capricorn. So, you know, we have to find new ways of self-confidence in order to manifest our journey, and that's difficult, but yet easy if we're not afraid to step into trying new things and to, of course, deciding on a path. And I think that this could be a very difficult time for people if they still haven't decided on a path. I'm not saying you're not on time, that I'm not saying you're a bad person or you're on the wrong end of the stick. It just could be more difficult because, you know, Saturn demands get your shit together, you know, and it's not a very easy planet, especially when it's at home in Capricorn. It's not the most forgiving because it wants to get the job done. It wants to reach the destination. And if you're having difficulties with your ability to manifest and not tripping out, like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to manifest the rent. I don't know if I'm going to be able to manifest money. I don't know if I'm going to be able to manifest, you know, the thing I really want in my life. Uranus teaches us in Taurus that maybe what you think you want in your life maybe isn't the best for you. So it scatters it or it removes it out of nowhere. But it also will bring us to some place that maybe we weren't predicting or maybe we weren't expecting that is better. So it's about kind of deep soul revolutions right now and revelations at the same time as we are having a revelation out of nowhere of, wow, maybe things are different. Maybe this is something that isn't as good for me on my path. And at the same token, a revolution of, you know, ready to break free of things inside of ourselves that have been holding us down from the bigger path, the better path, and the path we really want to go to on our lives. Now, when you also look at this week, Mercury is retrograde and it's coming over the sun. And whenever you have Mercury retrograde coming over the sun, it's a big moment where we start to really get a clear look in our inner soul and in our heart space, especially of a re-understanding, a re-look at, you know, what is happiness to us? What is going to bring us more love? What is going to make us shine brighter? What is going to let our souls express ourselves better? And so it could be a little confusing because this re-look is having us look while Uranus is stationary retrograde and activating the square to Mars retrograde still. And so, yeah, there's a lot of confusion on, you know, who am I and what is the best way for me to approach these situations in my life with manifesting and with being on the right, you know, place in the world, and is this the right person I want to be? Are these the right people? Remember, Venus just entered into Libra last night, so Venus is in its home sign. And to speak about Venus, Venus is going to be making some crazy aspects. It's opposing Chiron while the Mercury and the Sun are retrograde, so it's confronting identity stuff and weird identity stuff like, are the relationships in my life really in harmony, or are they against me with some sort of, you know, weird place in my life that I want to go? Like, it's hard because Chiron opposed Venus can be, you know, learning to integrate relationships based upon these unique characteristics of ourself that maybe they're not into it, or maybe they don't want it, or maybe you aren't into these weird characteristics into others. And is there a way to integrate it or not? The question, or the answer I should say to that question, is really with the big T square to Saturn and Capricorn, because this week Venus will square Saturn. Now this is a big deal because Venus is in its home sign of Libra and Saturn's in its home sign of Capricorn. So you have two planets in dignity squaring each other intensely, with Chiron activating those as well. And that's really intense because the question is, what is the right kind of partnerships? What is going to make me feel more at peace in my life? Well, the relationships and the road and the things that we desire and the things that we build that are from a place that are from tough decisions about knowing your long-term path. So there might be projects, because Venus also rules projects and things we're creating, but it rules relationships even more heavily in Libra. So relationships that are on the same trajectory as you. If it's not on the same trajectory, this is going to come up extreme, especially with all this Leo energy, which deals with romance, the heart. With all these planets retrograde, this is massive karma. Everything's coming in. Everything's coming in. And when all these ships come into port, let's say, especially with Mars retrograde in Aquarius, it's like there are so many different worlds we're looking at. But what's the best for you long term? What's the best for you in defining yourself and with partnerships that have the same end goal? So it's complicated because, of course, there's lots of people, there's lots of situations, there's lots of worlds that we want to enter. There's things that our heart really wants. There's things that our needs really want. As Jupiter, of course, is direct in Scorpio, there's sexual needs, there's desires, there's obsessions, there's things inside of ourselves that really want certain things really bad. But the whole question is whether or not it really is best for us long term, best for us in the long run of things. A quick fix or a quick exciting feeling is one thing. A temporary thing for 6 months or a year is another. But for the rest of your life, or the good portion of your life, is a whole nother thing to look at. And with Uranus retrograding in Taurus, a lot of this comes up where it's like, what's the best for you? You can only evolve by taking the best step forward. It sucks because I think we confront projects and relationships and situations that maybe just, aren't on the same page this week, aren't on the same understanding. And I think that's the hardest part about this, is being true to that. And Mercury retrograde this week squares Jupiter. And there's so much going on in the astrology, it blows my mind. So when you have Mercury retrograde square Jupiter, of course, we need to look way bigger at a lot of other facts and situations instead of kind of just only looking at, I love this and I like that only, without looking at the truth, without looking at the honesty, without looking at the bigger picture of the honesty of what's really going on. The real deep stuff. And kind of shoving it to the side, it's okay. I'm happy with this. It's no, you gotta look at the true, honest aspect of things. So I think this week is a very deep chord cut, especially because right after Venus comes into this T-square, after all these things that are going on, we come into a dark moon in a balsamic phase of the moon right before an eclipse with the moon in Cancer. So this is about cutting deep emotional cords, very deep emotional cords. And that's very difficult now with Saturn, which is in Capricorn this year. Last year when we had this dark moon, balsamic phase of the moon in Cancer during an eclipse, Saturn was in Sagittarius. And it was actually in trine in a very nice way to this solar eclipse. So it was a little bit easier to kind of deal with emotional stuff. Okay, kind of over that, done. Now it's man, this is tough decision stuff. This is confronting, am I emotionally really going to have to make a hard choice to do what's best for me in the long term and for my real happiness, not my short-term happiness, but my long-term happiness. And avoiding major decisions for short-term gains is definitely very difficult. And of course, when you have all these planets retrograde, you think, this isn't the time to make decisions. And I'm not saying that maybe you do, but maybe inside you know the truth. You know the emotional stuff that you're going to have to face, and it's undeniable. And the whole point of an eclipse is to start a whole new cycle. And how funny, we are starting a solar eclipse in Leo during 6 planets retrograde, and if you include Chiron retrograde, which I do, Chiron is in the party, whether you like it or not. Bam! 7 energies retrograde. This is the last time you're going to see the sun in the North Node for about 17 years, okay? And you're never going to see it like this with all these planets retrograde, okay? and especially on an eclipse week. In Leo, the natural home of the sun, the dignified place. You are not going to see this in your life, okay? Again, especially with Saturn in its dignity and with Venus in its dignity, never again. You won't see it. Go look at the astrology. Please show me the year in which that shows up again like that. And long story short, what does that mean? Well, one, this is it. This is the time in your life where you go, I got to confront my true happiness. This is kind of what the whole 2018 has been building up towards. Mars has been retrograding on the South Node. Sure, there are ego desires, there are wants, there are all these things that we don't want to deal with, that we want to find an easy solution for, that we want to fix. But at the end of the day, what's the best for us in our long-term happiness? What's the best for us to be happy, to really be happy, to look into our truth? And more importantly, with this big solar eclipse, it's not like it's huge because it's not total. I mean, it's a partial, but it's big because of all the things that are building up towards this. And in my opinion, when I see this, a lot of it is having to do with choice. Choice in your path, choice in your path of heart. And it's okay to feel emotionally kind of disconnected at this point because we are overwhelmed, not only mentally, physically, spiritually. There is so much that's going on that is just weird and off. And this solar eclipse is making some really weird aspects, weird ones, you know, like quincunxing Pluto or semi-squaring Venus. Not exact, but pretty close. So everything's like kind of in this weird dance in our life. And it's okay to feel weird right now. It's okay to feel weird. I don't want you to think you're a weirdo because you feel weird or that you're off track or something because, you know, who knows? You think something's wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. This is bringing up crazy karmic situations that need to be confronted. This is also bringing up relationship karma of whether it's new contacts, bridging new worlds together, coming together, some karmic contracts ending, some ones new beginnings, some that have been waiting lifetimes to come together. Because, you know, it takes a long time for us to get 7 energies retrograde on an eclipse week. With the North Node, by the way, which makes it a more powerful eclipse. Or in Vedic astrology, it's the Rahu one, right? So it is massive rarity of karma. Massive. So the things that are coming together right now definitely have a huge long-term purpose here. And that's what this is about, is as they come together, how can you take it all on? I think that's what Mars retrograde is realizing, that it can't take everything. It can't take the whole boat. That's why this is so hard in the world right now when people don't understand. When the Mars aspect is retrograde in Aquarius, the South Node is in Aquarius, the world feels like everybody can't get help. Everybody's kind of on their own. You have this feeling inside where no matter what your problems are, you got to kind of deal with it yourself. No matter how much, even if the people are right there and the people are helping you, like the universe is kind of throwing us into the position of, I've got to step up and deal with it myself. I've got to step up and figure this out myself in my life. I've got to have confidence. I've got to have courage. This is the ultimate courage test that we've ever been through in our entire lives. Ever. You have never felt this much pressure for confidence and courage to push through in your life, ever. Not with Saturn and Capricorn like this and Uranus and Taurus. We've never seen that in our lives. We've never seen it with a solar eclipse in Leo with the North Node. We've never seen it with Jupiter and Scorpio, the expanding of our true Phoenix rising. I mean, everywhere where you look in the astrology, besides Venus right now, is about courage and confidence. And Neptune, which is learning how to deal with the odd and the weird and the spiritual awakenings and the kundalini energy and all that stuff. That's already a department that we've been working on for, since 2011 that's been gnarly. But it's halfway through the cycle and it's been making really weird aspects to the sun when it came in, and with the lunar eclipse that we just went through a couple weeks ago, it's been, you'll never see it like this. So the best lesson from all this, before we go into the charts, is you can do it. No matter how much you think you can't, no matter how much you think, you've been screwed over, or, why can't everything come together the way I want to? This is the ultimate lesson of letting go of your idea in your ego and in your brain of how you want life to be, and stepping back and watching. If you just come from your truth and love, you know where you want to go, and watching the universe just bring all the ships home and bring all the energy into you. This is not about running to the races. When you have 7 energies going backwards, guess what? This is about sitting there and watching it all show up to you. Now, I do like to add some craziness to the show. We haven't even got to that yet. It's like Jupiter and Scorpio teaches. Let the stripper come and sit on your lap. Some people are going to hate that. But that's, when you have a bunch of energy in retrograde, right? It's about let all these things come to you. You don't need to move anywhere. And Jupiter and Scorpio is the lesson of learning to receive. But it also is the ultimate lesson of our desires, our wants, and our needs. And learning to attract that in. Why do you think Scorpio is about attracting it in, not building it? And it's direct. And it's squaring Mercury. So it's saying, listen, maybe you don't need to put on this pomp and, crazy show, Leo energy. Maybe you just need to learn how to project it in a way to know how to attract it into your life. So if you're not getting what you want the way you want it in your life, guess what? Welcome to the club. Welcome to your neighbor, your family member, and everybody else right now. And the whole lesson about this is us learning how to draw things in and be ultimate magicians and be ultimate manifestors. Through confidence in watching it show up. With confidence in showing that if we just have love for it, we know the road. We know how to deal with the weird spiritual energies that we've been awakening to for this last, since 2012 cycle. And this new world and this new galactic shift point and all those things. Guess what? If you just know how to deal with that and you know the path, you know what's going on, you know your manifesting skills, you know the resources you need, and knowing how to ask the universe, people are forgetting to ask the universe. Jupiter in Scorpio is learning to ask God. God, I really want this. Can I please have it? And watching God deliver it. That's Jupiter trine Neptune. It's all there, just not in the way that you want it to be, and the road in which you want it to look like. It's like going to H&M, and I'm going to use, this is a very Uranus retrograde Taurus thing, going to H&M and wanting some, let's say, a jacket or something, and they don't have your size. So the lady in the back goes, sorry, we don't have your size, and you're mad now. Mars retrograde, coming back into its exaltation at the end of this weekend too, into Capricorn on Sunday night. Right, but you're mad because you can't get what you want, and you throw a tantrum. But the girl goes, I don't know if you know, but, I feel bad for you, but I also work next door at John Varvatos. And I know that they have a way better jacket for sale in your size. I get off in 20 minutes. Maybe you should come look. And then when you go back there and you accept it and you go to John Varvatos and you walk in the store and you go, I don't know, everything in here is like $1,000. I was looking for H&M real cheap, real cheap. And you watch the girl come in and the manager goes, oh, yeah, you know what? This size hasn't been selling. We're taking it 75% off. It was normally $500 and it's the same fucking price as the H&M piece of crap that we all know. You wash it twice and it's done. But at least this thing will last years. And you'll get way more respect for it. And everyone will be like, where the hell did you get this badass jacket? It's like learning, like, that's how the universe is working right now. And learning how to accept it. Acceptance is everything right now, of whatever it is that's showing up. And learning to love and have fun through this crazy journey. I mean, the video game of reality is getting crazier than it's ever been. This is the time to enjoy it, instead of us freak out about it. Because we're going to get to a point to where we're probably going to get to where the energy gets so low. And of course, it's not going to be for a while. But I'm just saying, like, we'll get there one day. And we'll all be sitting here like, man, I remember when it was just so alive. I remember when it was just so intense. I remember when it was waking me up spiritually so powerfully. And you know, I think that's the good part about right now, is that aspect. Looking around and seeing the chaos and seeing the twister around our life and sitting in the middle of it and going, you know what? This is beautiful. This is amazing. This is showing me a different way, a different world, and giving me the things I really want in a better way than I even realized. And giving me a better life because I got out of the way. I let the universe drop it on my lap. And this is a beautiful time to learn to stay on your path by stop using your ego and to stop connecting to energies that you know aren't going to work, that you know isn't going to work. It's okay with Saturn square Venus to say no. This week it's okay. Like, no, this isn't good for the long term. Let's find a solution together. And if we can't come to an agreement, you know, what's best for the long run? Can we both agree with that? Maybe ask outside resources for help. Or it doesn't work. But I'm sure things can come together right now without you freaking out when you say no. Leo is the lesson of no. A lot of people think love is about yes. A lot about love is when you say no. If it's not what you like, it's not what you want, it's not who you are. Aquarius says yes to a lot of things, you know. Yes, I'll help you with the water and start pouring it on you. You need help. Leo is about, no, my heart's really not into that. Scorpio is no, you know, that's not going to give me that I really want. Sorry, you're not sexual enough for me, or sorry, you're just not sexy. You know what I mean? Like, that's Scorpio's no. Aquarius's no is, I've already helped you. No, I already helped you. And Taurus's no is, why don't you do it yourself? Like, I already know how to do it. Maybe, you know, the Taurus is like, it's kind of the expression in politics, like teaching people how to fish. Like, you know, it's like, come on, you can do this. Like, no, you got this. You know what I mean? But all these signs also know how to say yes. Yes to love through, yes, because I know that's who I am and that's me. And it's going to be love and it's going to be fun and it's going to be connected with who I am. Scorpio says yes because damn, you're fucking sexy and I want you. And yeah, because I know I'm going to get what I want back and receive. Aquarius is yes because I'm going to help you and you're going to be the great connector that's going to connect me to that person. So hell yeah. And Taurus's yes is, well, you know what? You're a valuable asset to me. And we can probably make something incredible together because we're on the same value, we're on the same page, and we have the same understanding of what it is to do to create. So when you put your foot down about no, you got to look at all these areas right now in this major fixed cross that we're going through. As this is a fixed cross solar eclipse, even though it might not be an exact cross, but there is Mars there. Still in Aquarius on the last degree, 0 degree, a very intense degree, coming back into its exaltation, ramping up its energy because it's ready to come direct at the end of this month. So it's like we're gathering all of our energy ready. With all this karma coming in, all these things, all these people, all these circumstances are starting to show up, and there's some things where you got to go, no, that's not it. No, yes, come in. No, no. We're building our teams. That's what Aquarius is, teams. That connect with the light of who you are. And the biggest downfall of this energy, or the biggest trap of this energy, is you trying to reach out, and try and bring in something that either doesn't want you, or it's like opposite of you, it's already not calling to you, like trying to fix and trying to connect to something that is empty. This is all planets retrograde. If it's showing up in your lap, it's from God, it's divine. If it doesn't want to show up, it is not divine at all. It is not divine. So guess what? That is the devil, reaching out to things that are not divine. That is evil. And I'm not meaning it like in a scary way, but you know it's evil because it'll make you feel bad. It'll make you feel like you're empty. It'll make you feel like there's something missing. Let's go into the charts. Hotter than Hades in here, at least. We're not in Hades. Oh, yes. Hello, hello. So, we have got August 7th pulled up, which is today, actually. Let's look at this. So first of all, I want to say this. By the way, if you guys have never been on Astro Gold, get Astro Gold. If you're on Mac, or you're on iPad, or you're on iPhone, and I'm not being paid for this advertisement, these guys are making the best astrology software for Mac, iPads, especially iPad, iPhone. Like, it blows your mind. I mean, but let's just see how crazy the universe is. Look at those angles. That is what's going down in the universe right now. Come on. Not only is it pretty intense and gnarly out there, that is how motherfucking crazy it is out there in the universe coming into this week. Look at that shape. That's no joke. That is not like, oh yeah, go look at your own chart. I bet you it does not look like that. I bet you it does not look like that. Okay? And I'm not running a bunch of crazy shit either. I'm running just traditional astrology stuff here. Like, that is how gnarly it is out there. So I just want to put this out there that way. So the only two planets now direct are Venus in its home sign, and Jupiter, which is in, of course, not its favorite place because it's, water, fixed, and kind of stuck in Hades. And sure, Jupiter knows how to have fun anywhere, so at least it's in a strip club, or it's in what's another Scorpio world place? I was going to say a whorehouse, but it's in our dark stuff, it's in a casino, it's in a, it's like moments that give us fleeting, exciting energy that die out. Because you got to remember that Scorpio is instant gratification that happens. And then remember that Taurus is long-term, right? Like physical, like things like building a business for a long time and building a lot of capital and how it could last a long time. Or owning that car that's from like the 50s, that 50 Corvette that's like worth 130 grand now, right? It's long-term growth. But with Jupiter here, It's enjoying exploring what we look for instant gratification. And Venus in Libra is looking for peace and harmony and relationships. And so at least we've got the two benefit planets moving forward out throughout this craziness. So it tells me that there is a God, that there is angels, that there are higher energies that do care about us in this predetermined life we're living. Because if one of these planets went retrograde right now, or, like, it would just be gnarly. It would just get over the top. And I think a lot of us have been feeling like, can I handle any more? Yes, trust me. There's a lot of positive with all this stuff going on. So, I just wanted to show you guys that. We're going to move on to the next chart, which is, oh, that's not the right date. Here we are. Okay, yeah. So we're here at the 8th. And what we're looking at here is this Sun-Mercury conjunction happening on Wednesday. This is where we're going to start to understand a lot more about what's going on in our hearts, what we like, what we don't like. And this is all while it's starting to square Jupiter, which is in Scorpio. So, this is definitely, as we look deep into our thoughts, the facts of our life, and what makes us happy, this is definitely looking at, well, is there gratification? Is there depth? Is there intensity? Is there sexual vibe? Is there the things that we really, really want? Is there edge? Scorpio's edge. It's right before the cliff and that feeling you get. It's right before the orgasm, there's edge there. It's right before when you put your foot on the gas and the accelerator and you go around the turn, you know what I mean? Am I going to hit the wall? There's something exciting about that in life. Maybe if you have a lot of Leo Scorpio like I am, but yeah, there is. So if you're afraid of those moments of edge and well, maybe this will be a really gnarly week for you. But if you know how to see that the universe is having fun by looking at deeper needs and wants, and this is a big lesson for the Leo vibe and all of our souls and all of our hearts, is we need more edge, we need more intensity, we need more passion to keep that blood pumping, to keep that heart moving. Passion and edge and life is, because Scorpio rules death and transformation and rebirth. So, there's a part of us that is facing this realization. In order to be happy, there's a little bit of a, right? Like, on the ER table, this week of, I need some life in me. And where are you not exploring that place? Or where are you denying that place? And there's a lot of that going to be coming up this week with this transit. The other thing is, while this is happening, the moon is in opposition to pretty much the midpoint of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So it's like realizing, your comforts emotionally are having to face some very, very intense truths about some deeper decisions and long-term structures of where we want to go in the long term. And so, even though maybe your emotions want certain things, are they the best for your long term? You can have edge with the right things that take you to the right place. Having edge that takes you to what you just only emotionally feel comfortable with and only you want, and you're not looking at the long term, is going to be a quick thing that ends the same way it probably already ended if you've tried it before. And of course, I didn't even bring up, this Uranus retrograde that happened on Tuesday. And I'm talking to you, it just happened this morning. But, now that Uranus is retrograde, it's getting ready to come back into Aries. It's got to finish the Aries energy, right? And this is where Chiron is. This identity stuff. Who are we? Are we really connecting with that identity? And you can see Venus also on Wednesday is in opposition to Chiron, and that's what I was talking about earlier. These weird things about ourselves and partnerships that are coming up, and whether we can integrate them or not. And you know, there's a lot there. This is a very big day. There's a lot of positives, though. I think that this is building relationships that are in alignment and healing us with what we've always wanted. I feel that this Mercury and Sun connection with all that's going on right before the balsamic phase of the moon is literally kind of a huge last big bringing in so much karma and bringing in the things that we need for our long term and bringing in the people and bringing in the projects. Yeah, sure, Venus is squaring Saturn, which I'll show you right here for the 9th. Oh, that was the wrong button. So yeah, look at Venus square Saturn on the 9th. So I think the 9th is definitely where we start to see, yeah, there's a lot of work with projects. There's a lot of long-term stuff. There's in relationships, things that you got to work out. There's things that you also need to reach higher. It's not the worst Venus square Saturn ever, just because Saturn is exalted in Libra. And I think, like, you know, Saturn's a little forgiving for Libra a little bit with Venus, just because it knows that it's weighing a lot out. So it's like, okay, I know you got a lot to weigh out, but give me a decision. Get out of the judge quarters as fast as you can and make your choice, you know? Or don't let the jury sit there too long. I get that you got to go jury it out, but don't sit in la la land forever and sit on the fence too much about things. But you know, this can bring up a lot about projects and relationships kind of coming to these major, you know, either big platforms now to big stepping stones, and some where you realize maybe you shouldn't do it, or maybe it isn't the best. You know, it's definitely a two-way street in that aspect, especially with Venus being a very two-way street sign. So that's going to be interesting Thursday, especially, oh, and the reason why I want to bring up Thursday too again is the moon is now dark in its balsamic phase in Cancer at the last degrees. So this is dealing a lot with heavy emotions. Remember, these are the most heaviest degrees in the water signs, dealing with depression, loss, fears, and even suicide and stuff. And so when you have a Venus square Saturn with a moon at the end of Cancer in a balsamic phase right before an eclipse with Mercury, which is starting to square Jupiter almost exact, we can kind of fall into, oh, this isn't the best thing in my life going on right now, or oh, I'm not happy about this, or oh, you know, we can really fall hard this day. And I just want you to realize that this is about stepping up, remembering everything shows up, looking at the truth, trusting in things, and learning to be positive through these times. That's a big lesson through this week. I know it's a very simple one, but it's going to feel more extreme than usual. So I know you can do it. So here we are on Friday. This is the day that we finally have the moon in Leo, and we are getting ready for the eclipse, right? And what's interesting about Friday is Mercury is exactly squaring Jupiter, and Mars is getting really close to coming back into Capricorn. And this is a solar eclipse in which, if you look at it, it's a very close yod. I mean, yods to me take like a 2-degree sextile. But when you look at this yod between Pluto and Neptune all the way up here to the Sun and Mercury, the finger of God is pointing to this eclipse with Mercury retrograde on top of the moon as it squares Jupiter. This eclipse is going to bring out, especially because Uranus just went retrograde and kind of activated the crazy energy and the unknown and the random. This is bringing up a whole new idea of where our hearts can go and what is love and what does make us happy And this is going to be a major shift day because it's the last day before a big chapter is closing. There's a yod forming with the sun, ready for an eclipse, Mercury retrograde and the moon conjunct. So there's a deep emotional look at our life, at understanding our life. Where's it going? Especially with the Jupiter square. Is it really going where we want to go? And I know that I'm saying everything's going to be received, but it's learning to ask to receive, right? So it's like, okay, you know what? At this point, right before this eclipse, I think on Friday, people are going to say, you know what? God, can you find a way to make this happen? And Jupiter's belief. There's a need to believe that it will come the way that you want it to. Like, instead of you having to put your energy to figure that out, like, please God, show up for me and bring me the things that I want. And especially because Neptune is involved, right? With the trine to Jupiter now, it will come. It will. And that's what even gives this yod, too, is this Pluto-Neptune. And a sun quincunx Pluto is learning to ask as well. Pluto is about asking. Pluto is about, getting to the bottom of things. And there's a lot to get to the bottom of what we really want in our lives. What do we really need, Taurus, and what do we really want? And where's the balance of that for our happiness and what's good for everybody at the end of the day? Although it is a south node in the Aquarius, it is a Leo thing, so this is really about your needs. But this is going to trigger fears around, can I really have that? What about so-and-so? What about this situation? What about that? It's like, give that to the universe. Let the universe deal with it. Let God deal with that stuff. That's the whole beautiful part of Aquarius, is like, let an outside resource deal with it. Of course, the main one's God, and it's funny, Uranus is the ruler of the heavens, so yeah, give it to God. Uranus. A lot of people might think Uranus ain't a godly planet, but it is. Or Aquarius isn't a godly sign, but it is. Because it's like God's ultimate worker, doing God's work to fix and handle crazy situations. That's why most Aquarians, it's kind of funny. Most of them, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, you don't really hear them really talking about God or anything because they're doing God's work all day, And so this is learning a lesson to ask in order to receive, and then even more important than that, realizing all the other worries and how that crazy shit will get figured out. Let it get figured out by God, and let God just bring you what you need and watch the show go down. That's what this eclipse is really about. So when we look at the eclipse up close, which is happening on the 11th, and we look at it in its actual style, it's happening around 3 a.m. Pacific, 6 a.m. Eastern. But when we look at this eclipse, okay, it's at 18 degrees. It's a very intense degree. One, it's got that yod, which I showed you earlier, right? So you could see it formed to Neptune, and you could see it formed to Pluto with that nice sextile. But the other odd part about it is this really weird, semi-square with Venus. So, it's really weird situations with relationships and what we're asking for and what we want, because also this is a solar eclipse squaring Jupiter. So we're asking for a lot, but there's some weird, tension, especially right here with this solar eclipse semi-square Venus. It definitely brings up, like, how do we find relationships that work with our happiness and our life, and how are our projects and our money situations all going to work with the way we want things to go? This can bring up all these kind of stupid worries and starting to weigh way too many things out. And I think a lot of this is, like I said, just ask and you shall receive. And if it's coming from the true heart space, the universe knows this when you ask. Like if you go up to God and ask for like a Bentley, but it's like, do you really need the Bentley? And do you really want it? Or is it just something just kind of that you just are throwing out there? Like the universe is really looking at you and really asking, like, I want to give you everything that you want. Like, this is the rarest moment I have seen in astrology in my life. In my life. I've been doing, and I'm not old. I'm only 34 years old. I haven't been doing this for 60 years or something like that. But I'm a mathematician. I'm an astrologer. I have never seen 7 planets retrograde with the North Node in Leo and the Sun in Leo and a solar eclipse there. And with all these Saturn-Pluto aspect is about to come. This is already in cycle. Pluto-Uranus square is getting ready to come back and return one more time. There's a lot of random extreme things all happening during this eclipse. Like, this is a huge moment. That's kind of like, and this is going to blow your mind the most, and I want to say this like really clear, like the biggest moment that I think our minds are being blown with in this whole eclipse is, up to the point of it, there has been no surety about anything at all in our lives at this moment. No surety at all. No, not sure if this is that, if this is going to work, if that's going to work, or anything like that. And I think that's the whole beauty of it, is like with the unsurety, it's like, okay, let's see if I could just fucking love and ask for what I want and see if it'll just show up. Let's just see. It's like rolling the dice. It's like throwing, a bunch of money on red and on roulette. And just because I love red, or I love black, or I love double zero, or I love, if you've never played your roulette, you might not understand this, but, it's watching the universe spin the wheel and it actually landing on what you put it on and what you asked it for. And it's like, I think what's the hardest about all this is not being afraid to ask for what you really, 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 and I'll say it one more time, really want. This Jupiter Scorpio stuff is not playing around. And this Venus is not playing around either. It knows in a month it's going into shadow period. It knows October it's going retrograde. It knows it's going to come back into Libra in November and come direct and be a whole new energy that we haven't seen in a long time. Decades. So, it's not messing around either. Everything in the chart is not messing around. So, it's like our whole worlds are changing rapidly out of nowhere because it's trying to get to the real core of what you really want. That's what fixed signs are. That's what fixed energies are. That's what Leo core energy. That's why it is the most dignified energy in the whole zodiac, is because the core of your heart is whatever it is, and nobody can judge it. Nobody can criticize it, because if it's from love, that is what is ultimate creation. That is what is ultimate about this reality and why you came down here. So why keep trying to love situations that don't love you back as much, that you don't receive as much back? Why attach yourself to certain situations that truly aren't what you really want fully, but, you're kind of in for there just because? This is no mess around with all this, Capricorn. I mean, when the thing about this, and I say this all the time, is if you're a pretty good astrologer, next year is gnarly. Saturn and Pluto are coming together. They haven't come in exact conjunction since 1983, okay? Like in 82, 83, that was the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And it continued on into Scorpio through the 80s for a little bit, 84, 85. And, you know, you got to realize, like, this is extreme. This is like 30, I mean, it's a 33-year cycle, but this is like going back 34, 35 years, okay? So that the last time that these two came together. And you can go see it in the night sky with where Saturn is, but just know there's an invisible planet there, Pluto, right next to it. But look at Mars. So when you go look up at the night sky as Mars is retrograding, know that in between Mars and Saturn, you can see Saturn every night right now. I've been driving on the beach at 9, 10 o'clock at night, looking on the, you know, looking at like the, in between the, you know, looking west and seeing everything. It's gorgeous. You can see Mars, you can see Saturn, and I know right in between that is Pluto. And so Mars and Saturn in between Pluto is extreme in itself. These are the three most malefic planets, the most challenging of growth planets. And what this is doing during this eclipse is preparing us for the biggest challenges of our life or the greatest achievements of our life is a better way to put it. So you better be so sure this week in your heart when you ask and you put it out there like blowing on your birthday freaking cake, your wish. Are you wishing for something that is not really it? What is it? What is it deeply inside? How does it look? Why are you freaking out so much that you can't attain it? Maybe it's going to be attained a different way. Maybe it's going to show up better than you ever realized in your whole entire life. But you have to be very clear from the universe of what that is and what you ask for, and to not be afraid and not worry about how the repercussions are, whatever it is that you get, how it's going to affect everybody else, because let God handle that shit. That ain't your issue. It's your happiness, it's your life, it's your heart. It's your manifestation, it's your experience here, and that is not an ego thing. Ego is trying to live life the way that you think is the best road only, and living a lifestyle, especially since Mars retrograde in Aquarius and Capricorn, is a very unique thing about how you think you should live in the world and your reputation and all these kind of things. Like, that's your problem. There is no, it's better to be a Republican, it's better to be a liberal, it's better to be a vegan, it's better to be straight, it's better to be gay, it's better to be this, it's better to be that. These are the issues that are plaguing all of us right now. That is the ultimate challenge of humanity, is that there is no better way to be. There is no better diet. There is no better political system. There is no better of this shit when it comes to humanity. Because we're all humans and we're all here experiencing our uniqueness and who we are. So the second you start saying, look at that person, like, they don't smoke. It's like, oh my God, like, so what? Or they smoke, oh my God, so what? Or they don't eat meat, or they eat meat, or they're Republican, or oh my God, they watch MSNBC. Like, guess what you're doing? That's your ego shit right there. Is attaching to this ideal of how you think the world will be the best, and how the best humans are, and the best reputation for yourself, when it's deeper than that. It's whatever makes you happy. You know? If you like to, you know, not going to say that. Woo, I have some weird guides, you know what I mean? But you know, like, if you like to duct tape yourself and eat Jell-O and poop in a bucket, and that's how you like your life, Wonderful! That's the bomb. That's like whatever you're supposed to be doing. And I think that it's about not judging yourself and not worrying about your ego and saying, God, this is wrong, I should be in a toilet. Or, God, this is wrong, I should be doing this, right? Because there's so much shoulds whenever we have like Mars in Aquarius in retrograde or the South Node in Aquarius, because the shoulds are Saturn-ruled signs. You got to remember that Mars is retrograding, and I'll just show you right here. Mars is retrograde, and actually what I'll do is I'm going to show you guys Mars coming back into Capricorn Sunday. And this is a great way to show you about all this should, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So Mars comes back into Capricorn, its exalted sign, and backwards in retrograde. But remember, it went retrograde at 9 degrees of Aquarius, okay? All right? So Saturn rules both these signs. And it's opposite to the moon, which is Cancer, and the sun, which is Leo, the mother, the father, or in Christian theology, you know, heaven and the devil went down into fallen angels down into hell. I'm just saying there's lots of ways to look at this, you know. And there's this, all the malefics down there, and the luminaries doing this big eclipse, right? And all the North Node. So this is like a battle between like this controlling our lives through putting out there, and really I believe it's the evil and the darkness in the world. I'm going to just throw it down there and be fucking real. The most evil shit right now is going down, and it's right in front of our faces. And you know what it is? This is the way it should be. You should be vegan, or you should be watching this network, not that one. You should be doing this. You should be that way. You should be this way, because it's all Saturn stuff, right? You should be living by this structure. You should be living by this law. You should be living by this lifestyle. You should be living by this way that everybody else. Who is everybody else? Who's saying that? Why do you think Neptune? Let's look at Neptune real quick. Neptune is making semi-squares to Mars retrograde. Deception of what we feel like our identity should be doing by the media, by this invisible force of who are they? Who are they? Like, there is no right way. I'm sorry to say, there is no right way. All that's right is heaven, and is you being your unique, loving, emotional, feeling self. That is why it's the only place in astrology with two dignified signs, with two dignified energies that are illuminary is Leo and Cancer. And that's where these eclipses were in 2018, to prepare you for the ultimate evil, dark fest of our lives, of a should society or a you society of you being you. That's what this eclipse is. If you can't drill yourself all the way into your fucking own heart and know your fucking truth and forget all the universal, other people, media, everything of the way you should be and look and be and all that bullshit, and look right here and go, holy fuck, this is really me. This is really what I am, no matter how weird it is. Guess what? Chiron's and Aries, folks. We're all fucking weirdos. We all fucking have a weird way that we want to come across. If we can look at that shit and be honest, that's the ultimate. Why do you think in tarot the world card is all the fixed signs? Why do you think the Wheel of Fortune is all the fixed signs? We're in a Wheel of Fortune solar eclipse. We're in a world card solar eclipse. And it doesn't come from being a certain way. It comes from knowing yourself and not caring about what everybody thinks about that, because we're at a point to where the universe is like saying, it's no irony, zero. I mean, how fucking rare is this? Solar eclipse, 7 energies retrograde, you know, it all happens, and then the day, literally the day after, not even like a day after the eclipse, Mars retrogrades back into Capricorn. Literally the next day. Bam! Where now it's about our long-term journey and getting our energy back and being like, all right, let's mount up again. Let's get ready. I know what I really want. I've asked the universe, and I'm going to get on that horse at the end of this month, and I'm going to ride that motherfucker, and I know the universe is going to bring all that shit I need. But if you're, you know, oh, I'm living my life because I think this is the best way, or whatever it is, and there's no judgment. Whatever it is that you want to do, it is. But when you start throwing in the, like, this is the way to be, or that'd be like me saying, like, because you don't follow astrology, you just don't know shit and you're fucking dumb. No, I know plenty of people who know jack shit about astrology who spiritually blow my fucking mind every day. And they don't even know jack shit. This is just a tool. Of course, I think it's the greatest tool, but I don't look at it to everybody else and go, oh, that's a shitty tool, and I don't think that's the greatest tool. Like, I've only done like 2 medium readings in my life, and they were totally unexpected, and, you know, I kind of was like, I don't know if I really, you know, want to do this, you know? But to me, I look at that like, that might be one of the greatest tools, to be able to connect with our past, or a past life regressionist, or, you know, even an artist, or a painter, or a musician, or what. There is no better way. I'm sorry. It's whatever you are in your creative expression, and whatever that is, and stop living in a world where it's like, is this the best thing? Or, you know, is it wrong? And is it right? And is it? If it's coming from love, and it's coming from creativity, and it's coming from a smile on your face, whatever you're doing with it, you know it's not coming from evil. You know it's like, happier people live longer than unhappy people doing things they don't want to do. Because this is about life or death in our soul and in our physical bodies. I know plenty of people who don't eat healthy and live forever. And I know plenty of people who think they should live their life this certain way and end up with something and die. Because no happiness was there. And that's the big question on this eclipse. Where are you at on those two sides? And there's no judgment from me, and don't let other people judge you either. But is it going to be you living that true essence? Or is it going to be what you think's the best for you because some people on a fucking stupid Facebook, you know, post said so, right? Like underneath on the comments to you, or some, you know, board on some, you know, random website, or because the news says it, or because some new article just said it out on television, or some new article in the one of the newspapers just said it, and some scientist just revealed that this is usually what happens when it is. I'm sorry, folks, this is all Aquarian shit. They might even be wrong. You know how many people have been wrong with their theories in life? It changes. We're in a universe where God's laughing as right when we think we figure it out, God reveals a whole different universe and bends time and space and can change this place in an instant second. So, this is not the time to start pulling out statistics, Uranus shit, as the South nodes here. This is not a time to start pulling out what everybody else is doing. Sorry, doesn't matter. This is not a time to be connecting to things that you know are already disconnected to you. This is not a time to be doing anything where you're losing yourself. And you know, I mean, of course there's Monday's chart, which to me, yeah, sure, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's pretty much all that right there. And you know, it's like, at the end of the day, I I just want you all to know that's what this is about. And if you can look at the beauty in this, and especially the beauty inside here, whatever that is, no matter how ugly it might look sometimes, no matter how it might go against the grain of the universe, you know, are you censoring yourself? And are you trying to reach for something that doesn't want you anyway, energetically? Whether that's a project, a relationship. I mean, there's a lot of Venus with Chiron in opposition. It's a lot like we're turning ourselves into Quasimodo, reaching out like, hey, I want this out there, you know? And most of the people are like, no, you know? It's like there's energy that will come to us. Quasi got hooked the fuck up. I don't know if you guys remember. He hooked up with a hot chick. At least in the Disney version. At least in Disney, they always, you know, hook them up with some, you know, hot chick. Even if you're the Beast, you get hooked up with a hot chick. You don't even have to do anything. Just some chick rolls up to your house, says you're a beast, and it just shows up. He's not out there looking for it. He's not out there trying to connect with it. Even in Sleeping Beauty, she don't gotta do shit. She's just laying there, and the fucking prince shows up and kisses her and wakes her up. Done. Cinderella sitting at her house, chilling, not doing shit, locked up by her fucking aunt who hates the shit out of her. And guess what? Motherfucking shit just shows up. So, watch shit show up when you ask the universe for who and what you really are, and watch all the complicated situations that you go, there's impossible that can happen. Watch all those complicated situations get taken by God, and God take those from you and deal with them, because God can see how all the strings are. And let's look one more time at this chart to show you what God is dealing with string-wise. Okay? That is some complicated motherfucking shit right there. All right? No joke. All right? If you do geometry, okay, get your pen and paper out and start calculating that one. All right? That is the week we're coming into. God is going to figure out those crazy situations. But when you ask for it, are you asking for something that you don't, you want, but it doesn't want you, or you know it's just not the best for you in the long run? Like, this is where you got to go deep into what you really want in all aspects of your life. Relationships, career, money, health, all these things. What do you want? And God is going to show up with what you need to do it. And there is massive protection around through this. So don't be afraid of this eclipse. Don't be afraid of this week. Jupiter's trining Neptune. All the angels are around. There's like backup angels that got called up, and they all wanted to show up. And then there's backups to the backups and backups to the backups. There's more backup than there's ever been before. There's more backup than there ever has been. I'll leave you with that. If you want to live your life duct taped up, shitting in a bucket, it's awesome. I'm down for it, and I'm happy for you. Also, if you want to find out more about the good stuff that's coming at the end of this month, get my August webinar right now. It is for download at inclusiveastrology.com, and it's super awesome. And of course, if you want to learn astrology, if you want to learn how to do it like this, if you want to be a better astrologer, or just be an astrologer that's just having fun, or you want to be a professional astrologer and even get certified, come join Leo King Elite. We've got all tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They're awesome videos. It's a full academy. It literally, inside the videos, says if you've completed or not. It's got awesome tests. And even better than that, you can leave comments. And it's awesome. It'll blow your mind, especially when it comes to knowing how to do what I'm sitting up here doing right now. Or if you want to even do this for a living, I even have a class on that in there as well. If you buy the whole premium package, you get everything all in one for a huge discounted rate. Thanks so much for all your support. I really appreciate everybody's support. I truly do. I'm wishing you all the best on this eclipse. Unfortunately, I will be racing this weekend, so I will not be doing spiritual dance music. I know, I don't know how, unless I figure something out. It's kind of crazy times right now, in my personal life as far as like with work and all these meetings and business and racing and apps and all these things and readings, and I'm all over the place. I do have openings for readings, so go to leoking.com, click on consultations if you want a reading with me, but I won't make spiritual dance music this week, but I will be trying to do some more lives from my cell phone or something when I'm out at the race. Sending you all my best. Thanks for everything, guys. I'll see you all later, and please share the video. I'd appreciate it.